This is Numbers 23, and looking particularly at a couple of phrases at the end of verse 10. But I'll read Numbers 23, beginning in verse 5 down to 10. And the Lord put a word in Balaam's mouth, and said, Return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. And he took up his parable, and said, Balak, the king of Moab, hath brought me from Aram, out of the mountains of the east, saying, Come, curse me, Jacob, and come, defy Israel. How shall I curse whom God hath not cursed? Or how shall I defy whom the Lord hath not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, the people shall dwell alone, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. Who can count the dust of Jacob, and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Let me die the death of the righteous, and let my last end be like his. So Balaam here, again, speaking God's word to Balak, when Balak wants cursing upon Israel, but Balaam keeps speaking blessing upon Israel. And he says here at the end of verse 10, Let me die the death of the righteous. Desire to take your last breath while engaged in obeying God. Balaam continues to say, and let my last end be like his. Here he was declaring he wanted to be like God's people. God's people end up in heaven. This is a good desire, but was it deep or surface level? Matthew Henry says, he shows his opinion of religion to be better than his resolution. There are many who desire the death of the righteous, but do not endeavour to live the life of the righteous. Gladly would they have their end like theirs, but not their way. They would be saints in heaven, but not saints on earth. This is the desire of the slothful, which kills him, because his hands refuse to labour. This of Balaam's is only a wish, not a prayer, and it's a vain wish, being only a wish for the end, without any care for the means. Thus far this blessing goes, even to death, and beyond it as far as the last end.